Hip hop has always been my favorite genre of music by a long shot. And from when I was about 10 years old until very recently, it's pretty much been all I listened to. And I'm making this video to say that in the last few months, I've actually greatly reduced how much hip hop I listen to, and it's probably not for the reasons you would expect. Okay? So, the kind of stuff that I would really listen to and that resonated deeply with me is like the hyper intellectual, super lyrical type of hip hop. So, I'm talking about artists like Pharoah Monch, Jay Electronica, MF Doom, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and Hieroglyphics. People like that. Black Alicious. So, like those hyper intellectual people with lyrics that are really intricate, rhyme schemes that are really complex, that it takes years for you to assimilate and completely break them down. And another one is Lupe Fiasco. He comes to mind. He's one of the most intricate and one of the most masterful when it comes to his lyrical prowess. So that's the kind of stuff that really resonated with me. I'm not talking about pop rap that's like really dumbed down, and I'm not really talking about gangster rap. I'm talking about that hyper intellectual, conscious type of rap. So you can also include Black Star, Mos Def, and Talib Kweli in here in common. So that's the stuff that has resonated the most deeply with me. It's the music that has resonated the most deeply with me. But why I've reduced how much I listen to that stuff is because it's too intellectual. You must be like, how can something be too intellectual? Well, it has to do with me and my goals. Because over the last few months, I've really tried to hone and master a lot of feminine qualities like intuition and things like that. So I'm going more into the heart, more into the intuitive knowledge, and being less consumed in the intellect and the analytical, rational mind, because that music is more, intellectual, analytically dominant. It's not as like intuitive and heart based, even though it does have heart. You can't deny that. But something like this is why I'm listening to a lot more like classical music or light meditative music, because it's very intuitive and feminine. And I've been doing a lot of writing and things like that. So I'm not going to put on hyper intellectual hip hop when I'm writing because I'm going to get so excited and distracted by it. So I'll put on some light music like classical music or meditative music when I'm writing or stretching or things like that, because it's more conducive to the process, because I'm always doing creative work. So I need music that complements that creative work. Okay? And also with my workouts have been more focused on form and being in tune with my body. So that's why I've been listening to more like fast-paced classical music or like epic mixes, epic classical mixes, because it allows me to not concentrate as much on the music, but be in tune with my body and what it's doing. Be in tune with the individual muscle contractions and all of that. So it creates a conducive environment to be very, very intuitive. Though sometimes, if I get really hyped up and I'll just put on some fast-paced hip hop that gets me going and have a tough workout. I like doing that still. And I still listen to hip hop every day. I'm never going to completely let go of it because that's my bread and butter. So it's all according to goals. So I'm doing a lot of writing right now, doing a lot of intuitive work. So I'm using music that supports that. And going back to hip hop, and if you think that hip hop is like stupid music, you haven't been exposed to the vast array of it that exists. Because when it is done masterfully, when you have someone that is a master at rapping, it is so above most people's heads they can't even comprehend most of the lines. So if you're one of those people that has no idea about hip hop, don't be making assumptions until you actually listen to the kind of stuff that I'm talking about that really resonates with me. I'll give you an example of a Pharoah Monch, a couple lines from Pharoah Monch that it's really impressive to me. So here's an example of what this stuff sounds like and what it consists of. Okay, this is it's a part of Pharoah Monch's song Rapid Eye Movement. So he goes, "My philosophy prophecy, the opposite of Mephistopheles, I inside an isosceles, sent to earth to warn of environmental atrocities, and nobody can copy me. Stop. It's not possible but probable that it's only philosophical mockery." Like, come on. That's going to take weeks for the average person to break down, and you can write an essay on it. So that is the kind of hip hop that I'm talking about that I would always listen to, and I still listen to on a daily basis. It's just not as much. It's super intellectual, and that's like how I am for the most part. I love rhymes, I love words, I love playing with words, I love punchlines, I love wit. So that stuff is amazing to me, and nothing gets me going like someone spitting hot fire on a verse. Like that just resonates so deeply with me. So that stuff's my bread and butter. But I'm reducing my consumption of it, and it's not all I listen to now because I'm doing more meditative, intuitive work. So it's all a balance. You have that it's hyper intellectual, that kind of music. And then I'll listen to the classical music or the meditative music as the opposite of that to balance that out, the more intuitive stuff. So that's why I've reduced my listening of hip hop music, okay? So if you're one of those people that hasn't really gotten into it, I highly suggest that you check that stuff out. And if you're one of those people that is really logical, and maybe you are familiar with that kind of hip hop, listen to more classical music, listen to more meditative type of music, listen to lighter music without words, and get more intuitive. Okay? So that's all I got for you today. Peace, peace, much love, and one love, baby.